Well, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome to the stream, and another chapter working on that guy there. That's our Su-57, the 1/48 scale by Zvezda. I'm going to run the intro, we'll get right into it, okay? So, we're back, part 2. Airplane's taken off a lot today, so you're going to hear a lot of that in the background. We're working on our Zvezda 1/48 scale Su-57. We didn't get a heck of a lot done last time. We got our ejection seat kind of assembled, but that's really about it. Off camera, what I did was I primered everything. I went through all the sprues and I primered them with some Mr. Surfacer 1500 gray. Yeah, I know a lot of times I do my airplanes, I'll do primer in black, but not this one, not this one. We're going to do a little different this one. Okay, so everything's in light gray, which is why looking at this you might think, well, I haven't done anything. This has actually been primered. After primering it, remember we put on this little rectangle last time, we got that installed. After I primered it, I found that the putty I had put in there, I didn't quite fill quite enough that I liked, so I redid put a little bit of extra putty in there, and that's why it pretty much just looks the same, right? So yeah, I'm letting that cure. I'm going to let that cure overnight because I just did it this morning. So we're going to let that cure. We're going to move on to other things, okay? So speaking of other things, what are we doing? Well, we're going to continue on with the build. We need to get our actual cockpit bucket off of the sprue. Like I said, this has all been primered. You might be able to tell I primered a little bit here on the intake, where this little ribs are here, but I didn't on the rest. So you might be able to tell the difference, like between this panel and this, where this is not primered and this is. You might be able to tell there's a little slightly darker gray. Yeah, that's why. Everything's a nice light gray, so it's going to come up and you guys are going to be able to see really nice. As opposed to when I primer everything black and then you guys can't see any of the detail. Okay, so let's just put that aside for now. Let's take a look at our instructions. I'll change the camera so you can follow along with me. Let's see here. Okay, so last time we assembled our seat, right? We got the seat assembled. We got these two little things assembled and our control stick. Those are all assembled. Now these have to be painted flat black before we get them actually installed into the bucket. The bucket is supposed to be light gray. Well, I think the primer light gray, that is a perfect color for that. So we're just going to leave that as the primer. I think that's perfect. So we just need to paint the black. Okay, I don't want to brush paint it. I would rather airbrush it. So I'm going to fire up my air compressor here. I did recently have to change my air compressor. The other one got a leak in the tank, and so I had to replace it. And this new air compressor is just a little bit louder than the last one. So what I'm going to do for flat black, I do have Tamiya's flat black. That'll work. We can thin this out a little bit. I'll put a little bit of thinner in this, and we'll just use this as my air compressor is getting ready. This straight out of the jar is a little too thick to spray, so I'm going to get some thinner. And where's my pipette? Pipette's on the ground. Let's just thin this out a little bit here. There we go. All right. So, we'll shake this up a little bit now. Get that all mixed up nice. Okay. There we go. Okay. So that's all nice and thin now and mixed. So ready to get my airbrush ready. in case you guys are curious, the airbrush that I use, this guy is a Mr. Hobby. It's a, what do they call it? The Procon Boy. This is the PS771. Okay. This is a custom one. It comes with a .018 needle. Okay. That's the one I use. For detailed stuff like this is the one I use. If I'm painting a little bit of a bigger area, same brand, okay, Mr. Hobby. This is the PS266. This has got a .5 needle in it. Okay, much bigger needle for much bigger areas. Okay, and that's what I use for bigger stuff. Now, if I'm doing really big, like say wanting to cover the whole surface of an airplane, like this, if I want to cover this in a nice even coat, I'll step up to my other .5. That's this one. This is a PS290. This is the trigger type, dual action trigger. This one sprays in a nice pattern, almost like a professional air gun, and the cup is removable on this one. Okay, so just in case you guys were curious, if you're wondering what I use for airbrush, that's the 3 brushes that I use for 3 different applications. Obviously the one I use most often is this guy, because I'm usually doing smaller stuff, and so this is the one I like to use the most. Okay, so there you go. There's just a little rundown of my airbrush. Okay, so let's put a little paint in our cup. Do not need very much, just to paint a seat. I hate this about paints. You get this goober crap all over the threads and the lid. I hate that. But this stuff, I've had this jar for a while, and that's why it's like that. Okay, now I don't have my other camera set up, but I'll change this window, change the size here, so you can at least see. You can see my big table of miniatures and stuff. Yes, I am still working on the hood of the GMC Cyclone. I got the primer laid down, sanded it, and I got my first coat of black laid down, and I wet sanded it, and I'm ready for my next coat of black on this one. But I'm not doing that today. I might later, but we'll see. Yeah, that's that. Let's get this out of my way here. Okay, so I already got the seat on a little clip, so I'll just get this guy painted black here. Of course, the back of the seat, I'm not going to see it, goes right against the wall, but I still like to paint it anyway, just because, you know, it's just one of those things. So I'm sorry I don't have my, since my move, I still don't have my painting camera set up yet, exactly how I would like it, so it's kind of a work in progress, I'd say. Probably hear that air compressor kick in now. I don't think you guys could really hear the other one. This one, yeah. Unfortunately, this one you can probably hear it. Just making sure I got all my angles, get every nook and cranny covered in paint. including top-down position. That's always important. Even bottom up view is important to get. Okay, so there's our seat. Okay, there's our seat. Right? She's black now. Okay. Now we also have our little joystick guy. So I need a clip for that. Our little joystick. I'm gonna hold on to it from the bottom nub that's going to be sticking into the floor. This is supposed to be flat black also, just making sure. I got a nub I need to clean up on this. Let's get that off of there. Scrape that off a little bit, make it look nice. Same on this side. Okay, that looks better. So just do that, and we'll paint this guy. And that's it. Now he's black. Yeah, black. There you go. And that's it. So that's it for what I need to do black for now anyway. Just looking at the oh, wait a minute. Part E30. Let's find E30. I think this is the E sprue. I don't know. Let's just try and find number 30 on here. And see if that's what we need. 28, 29, 30. So that's number 30. That doesn't quite look, or maybe that is correct. I don't even know if this is the E sprue. I don't know. I really don't know. Let's look at a couple other sprues, because I'm not sure. I don't know if that's E. I guess it's an easy way to tell. The bucket just came off of that sprue. This just came off. What's the number on that bucket? E20. And that just came off of there. That was number 20. This is the E sprue. I'm going to mark this sprue. The way they have the sprues labeled is a little confusing. They don't have a great big letter on there. So I'm going to fix that problem right now. The way Zvezda has these marked, let me change the camera, I'll show you. So you search on the sprue, you find this little tab. Okay, this tab here on this side, it just has the Zvezda logo and copyright, and this is 2020. So that tells you that's what year this was built in. See that there? Let me get that on the camera there. You can see that there, right? That's all that tells you. But you flip this over, and this of course is the side that all the numbers are on. All the numbers are on there. But you flip it over, we have a number here, 4824-E. And I just looked at another sprue, and it was 4824-C. So that tells me this actually is the E. So I'm just going to do this. That makes it nice and easy to see. I can see the E, and I'll do it on this side too. E. Just like that. Now I know that's the E. I'll just keep this for future reference, because these are done. I got to find that, and that was that one. E20. Oh, sorry, E30. This little guy over here. He needs to be black. So I'll just quickly zap him with some black. while I'm at it, I could just brush paint this guy. That's not gonna make much of a difference, really. So yeah, so that's black now. Okay. Now it's time to clean the brush. Okay. So you guys watching live, you get to watch me clean out my airbrush and see the whole process. You guys who are not watching live and you're just watching it on YouTube, I'll skip right about here.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
So we can concentrate back on our assembly. All right. So let's change the camera. Let's get back to this. So this is now black, and we have these two pieces. So we can start a little bit of assembly here. It looks like I need to find E44 and paint the bottom of that black with the top of it red. It looks a little bit funny. I think it's only supposed to have like maybe a button that's supposed to be red. Let's take a look at that part. E44, let's find that part. E44. Now that we know this is our E tree, let's find number 44. 41, 2, 3, and 4. This guy here. Let's get this off of here. We know already that we're going to need E30 because we painted that black already, right? So let's get that too. So we know we need this guy. So get him ready. So E44 is kind of a strange looking little thing. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. I don't know what this is. This almost looks like the ejector pull tab that goes in between. Where does that go? Oh, it does actually. But they want it painted red. I'm tempted to look at reference photos to see how this is actually supposed to be. As it looks like maybe there's kind of a ring that goes around here, and maybe the ring is supposed to be red and the rest of it is black. In any case, it needs to be black, so let's give this a little shot of paint as best as I can. I should have left it on the sprue. I should have left it on the sprue to paint, because it's a little hard to get at all the angles. Now that it's off, let's just give this a little dose of paint. A little bit of the black treatment on all the angles that I can. Okay, there we go. We'll let that dry. So that's going to go on the front of the seat, right there. Take this off now. Oh, got a little spot that didn't get painted. There we go. The reason why I chose that spot to hold it is because you're not really going to see this spot. So, there we go. It's all good. It's all good. This looks like it's already dry. So, let's just hold on to it by a different angle. Keep on closing the jar and I need more. Okay. She's flat black. We'll let that dry. And focus on the other parts. I almost wiped this off thinking this was a piece of a different thing. All right, let's see. Where did our bucket go? Our bucket is here, and we've got E30 has to go into this hole here, and I need my knife. Where'd my knife go? Need to drill out this hole a little bit. So it doesn't really want to. It looks like they've got something inserted in there to make it like, I don't know what you call it. It's only half of a hole. Let's clean up this nub here. I'm sure if I don't clean up the nubs on the bucket, it's going to interfere with installation later. Okay, let's take a look at our part here. Alright, so they have this. There is a little notch on that one spot, so that this goes in. And you can basically tell whether you have this installed right or not, as it should fit in that little hole just like that. The hole doesn't go all the way through, which means you have to put some glue on from this side, and that's fine. There's how that goes in. Stay focused, please. Come on. There you go. Just like that, okay? That's your E30. Okay? In there like that. Of course, where it was attached to the sprue, we didn't get paint on there. But that's okay. We can cheat. I watch guys use Jiffy marker on their models and I think, what is wrong with you? And now I do. Okay, this is our E34 and 35 combination. This is going to go in. We want, you see how it's got that curve on it? That curve should be going this way to the front. Okay. Our hole, of course, is not a circle. It's a half circle, one flat side. That's going to force you to put this in only one way, which is that way, just like that. Okay, just like that. This hole does go all the way through, and so I'm going to glue it from the bottom. I like it when they do that. Makes things nice and easy. Okay, done. Now, our E44 that's going to go on top of the seat, I want to glue that on before putting the seat in, okay? I want to do that first. Now, something they don't tell you, I have a feeling I'm going to have a heck of a time getting the pilot in there with that in. I'm going to have to, because my client wants the pilot in. So I'm going to grab the pilot. We're off of our C tree. He's got a few parts to him, C42, 43, and then we put the arms on after. So let's take a look at those. Find our C tree. C tree. Is this our C tree? This is our C tree. The pilot pieces are fairly obvious. There's one arm, there's his legs, his upper body, and his other arm. Right now, I'm going to get his legs and his body assembled. I'm actually going to pull this joystick out of here before the glue dries, because I don't know what kind of issues I'm going to have when I go to put him in, because that's just going to slide down like that. And maybe I need to have him on the seat like this, actually sitting down as I put this in, and then put the joystick down over his legs. I don't know. But for now, I'm just going to clean up our nubs. So that he goes together nicely. Of course, top of the helmet is one of those parts that's like, yep, that's a highly visible spot. And helmets are usually pretty good at showing you their details. And I'm not sure if this is a parting line or if that's part of the helmet. But it looks, it's a little bit funny the way they've sculpted it. On this side, on the right side of his helmet, the back part is sticking out proud, but on the left side it's the front part that's sticking out proud. And it's right here where that nub was is the dividing spot of those two. The good news is this whole helmet's supposed to be white, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so how does he fit together? Well, you see, not very well. He's got a huge gap in his details, but we're not nitpicking about pilots, are we? Pilot is not the key feature of the model, is it? It's just a matter of getting them together and in there. Okay. So I did primer him. I need to see what colors his little suit's supposed to actually be. Yes, his helmet is white. His visor obviously flat black or black, probably gloss. So one thing I didn't do, because I don't normally build pilots, but this would be the first one you guys watch me actually build a pilot, right? So that's the way it goes. So I got to look at the colors here. Now it wasn't in this book that the color call out was. It's on the other sheet. So let's see here. I got to write these down. Let's get my pen. So 31 gray. That's easy. Gray. 6 aluminum. 30 light gray. That's good. Light gray. 12 red. 55. I don't know what protective is. It's XF61. XF61. They tell you the Tamiya colors. That's really cool. Number 20, of course, is our black. Okay. So technically, number 20, they're calling out for XF1, which is flat black. All the XF colors, Tamiya, the F is for flat, right? So it's flat black. So XF61, I don't know what color that is. They call it protective here, but that doesn't mean anything. So what is XF61? Let me see here. XF61. XF61 is dark green. XF61, dark green. Things. XF61, dark green. Okay. That solves that. So, dark green. And then we have colors on our arms. 31 is gray, 55 dark green. That's interesting. So his main body is all XF61. So I'm going to look for that. Do I have XF61 in my plethora of paints? I got 58 sitting here. Let me look for that. XF61. I'm going to put his here for now. Remove all of my resin stuff. XF61. Let's see. Dark green, XF61. It really kind of looks more like a gray. But, of course, that's the lid. It looks actually green inside. So that's good. We're going to give him a little coat of paint here. I'm going to hold on to his boot. I think right there is good. Grab a brush. And let's go to work. I do love that they actually call out the real Tamiya color on it. Our hose is supposed to be a light gray, so I'm going to try and not really paint the hose too much, and I'm going to try and stay away from his helmet. But this is not the most precision brush, so I might get a little bit of paint where I don't want it. And I'm pretty sure I am going to have to touch him up. At some point later on. I feel like probably what my process is going to be is get him in the seat, put his arms on, then pull him out of the seat and finish painting him. It's probably going to be process something like that. There we go. We've got a mostly green pilot. And I might as well do his arms. And do a couple of spots on his arms. I don't want to set him down like that. So I'm going to use this. Doink. Let's find his arms. This is not the sprue of his arms. That's the E sprue. I want the C sprue. The spots of his arms underneath, where it's going to be hard to get to once they're on. It's always easiest to paint them before they're actually on his body. And then you can always touch them up later. But a lot of times you put the arms on and suddenly you don't have access to the underneath of them, and then you can't get at them. So there we go, there's one. Now, like I said, I am going to have to touch them up once they're actually glued on. I'll have to touch up the crease, the little spot where they attach. There's going to be some kind of spot where the paint has come off because of the glue or something like that, or whatever. So there you go. So that's the XF61 part. Run some thinner through the brush. Okay, one thing I need to do with my air compressor is release the air out of it. So you're going to hear a big hiss in a second. Find the valve. There it is. There we go. Okay. So we're going to let him dry. Move him off to the side here. Let him dry. And see what we can do. We have our dash, our display, that is supposed to go in there in the cockpit. It's not connected to the bucket, it's on its own. It's going into the top of the fuselage. And we've got these two pieces that are supposed to go into the top of the fuselage also. So let's grab our fuselage here. Our two funny little pieces that we made last time. Remember these? Where we got those put together? Those got to go in. Where's my other one? Where's the second one? I'm willing to bet you it fell on the floor and I never noticed. Because this is a license plate for the GMC Cyclone, and that's not the piece I need. So, let's see, where did you go? Where did you go? I don't know, guys. I don't know where she went. But at least we can install this one for now. Okay, so I'm going to hunt for the other one. In the meantime, we have this one. In the meantime, there's this. Okay, so they got to install into these holes that are in the fuselage, here and here. Okay, left and right. So let's take that. They show us 2A and 2B and how they are situated. So this particular one, I believe this was, it looks like it was the 2B. It seems to match up with the curvature here. This is probably the 2B, and so that means it goes on that side over here, and they're going to fit in right here, and that is not correct, so this must be 2A, because it should fit in here just like this, or really close to it. Okay, you see this has a bit of a curve to it right here, and the whole thing actually has a bit of a nice curve to it, and that's going to follow this curve here. Okay, and so it's going to sit in just like this, and so if we look at it from above, that's what it's going to look like. Okay, we're going to have a cool looking little vent there. So with that sitting in there like that, glue that in. Just like that. I have to hunt down the other piece. I have a feeling it might be on my little bench over here. But where on my bench, I don't know. I remember I was trying to prime it. I was going to try and prime it when I was priming everything, but then I decided not to, and that I could do it later. So let's just move on. Our little dash piece is going to go in right there. That is part number. What is the part number on that? Part number F7. So we've got to find the F and tree. Where's my F and tree? I got my C and my E, but I need my F and tree. F and tree, F and tree. Where are you, F and tree? Today's episode is just about hunting everything down. Right? That's what we're doing. Found the F tree. Okay, there's F. One more to label. J. So my sprues are all labeled now, so I'm happy about that. Okay, F tree. That is going to be this guy right here. There's our dash. Dash, display, whatever you'd like to call it. That guy there. Now, he is also supposed to be black, and he's supposed to have a couple of decals put on him, because they have decals in display, for the display. I believe we have two options. If I remember this kit correctly, we had two options. We could have the actual display screens displayed like they're turned on, or just have them turned off. I gotta dig out the decals out of the kit for that, because I don't have them out. I left them in the box. So we got decals. They show us decal number 2 or decal number 1. Decals 1 and 2 on here. It's right here. Decal number 1 and number 2. Now they're not really showing. Oh, number 1 is on the top. Okay. So pull this out. Just to make things simple, I'm going to cut the decals out with my knife. Let's make sure I'm doing the right thing here. This is number 1, and that's number 2. So okay. There we go. There's our decals. Now let's get rid of the number 1. Let's get rid of this. And get rid of that number 1. Okay, there's our decals. But this guy's got to be painted black first. So if I paint him black after, it's going to be too hard to really get in there. This has to be black first. So in this case, because I'm brush painting it, I want to do it with the Mr. Surfacer, just because Mr. Surfacer, it just lays down a little nicer. And actually what I'm going to do is put this on my cardboard with some tape. This, put this like that. I'm going to go this, and then like this. Okay, and now, doink, and now it won't go anywhere, right? Now let's just mix this up. Paint this guy. Painting them all in like this, even though this part probably isn't going to be seen. In fact, that's probably going to be glued in like that. So the part that might be seen is actually the bottom. I'm not going to paint, purposely I'm not going to paint in the decal, where the decals are going, our display screen. Except maybe like right in between them here, in that little crease, joink, and this down here needs to be. Just in a little crease, I want to get paint in there. Let's get even coverage so it's all nice and even. There we go. Like I said, the top here I don't think is going to be seen probably. It's going to be tucked up under. There we go. Okay. So we can let that dry. Clean my brush, and I'll get a little bit of water in a little cup. This is good. Can't believe I lost that piece. I can't say that it's lost. It's not lost until I give up. I haven't given up, right? It's not lost until you give up. Or maybe 3 models from now I'll find it. Yeah, anyway, I'll be back in a second. A little bit of water. And put our decals in.
Moments later.
Let's have a look here. You guys ready? Oh yeah, that didn't take long at all. Okay. Get our piece here. These guys flapping around in the wind. Just like that. And now where did number 1 supposed to go? Number 1 is supposed to go in the very top, but there's nothing there. They show number 1 going up top here, but that's a big open hole. Sort of. They kind of show it like right here. I'll do that. Okay, so let's get one of these. Squeeze the water out of it. I'm going to get number 1 lined up here. And we can throw this away. And I like to use Tamiya's Mark Fit Super Strong to get the decals to shrink down into where they're supposed to be. So a generous amount of that on there. Let that do its thing. Okay. Now that Mark Fit Strong, that Mark Fit Super Strong, it causes the decals to shrink, and when they shrink, they'll conform into all the little nooks and crannies, little crevices, panel lines, all that stuff. If you guys have never used it, I recommend trying that on your decals. It helps get rid of what they call silvering. When you get that little layer of air underneath of them, it helps to shrink it down and stick better. But you have to let it, you got to set it and forget it. That's really the main thing. If you try and play around with it while that is working, a lot of times because it softens the decal will have a tendency to wrinkle on you, and then you can't unwrinkle it. It starts to tear apart on you. So you really got to have the decal where you want it, and apply that stuff, and you have maybe, give it a few seconds if it happens to move on you by mistake. But that's what you want to do. So I'm going to let this dry, because you got to let it dry on its own, because you will notice if you come back 10 minutes now and you look at the decal, it's all wrinkled to crap, right? And it's like, oh no, I ruined it. But just wait, have patience, because when it dries, the decal will flatten out on you and it will look beautiful when it's done. So even with Tamiya decals, Revell decals, doesn't matter. So I'm going to let this dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to look for that other piece that goes into the fuselage, because I really don't know where that has wound up. So that is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. And I want to thank you for all the support. I've been getting some extra comments on my videos, and I really like that. I love it when you guys leave comments on my videos, because I love interacting with you guys. It's great, because I love the support. You guys are really awesome. I really, really appreciate it. And so, that being said, down below, I really appreciate it if you hit the like button, hit subscribe too if you haven't already. Leave a comment if you so feel like. Down in the description box, you're going to see some links to my other stuff that I do. Twitch, you can watch me live on Twitch, you can chat with me, pops up here on the side, and I can talk to you live. Instagram, X, I'm on there also. You can check out stuff. Instagram, I always upload pictures of stuff I built in the past, so you can check those out too if you feel like it. And with that, we're going to end it for today, and we'll see you all in the next one.